Yeah, no, you're good.
The moment that thing stops moving, we're screwed.
Yeah, I hear you again.
Yeah.
Got to see how far back it goes.
Yeah.
Am I looking at the camera or you?
No, we'll just have a regular
It's
conversation.
organic.
I mean,
Okay.
every now and then,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm saying something specific to
Yeah,
the
right.
to the audience, I'll go this way.
I hear you. I saw that with Bill Murray today.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, he
Bill
was.
Murray?
It was the old school Anthony Bourdain. Oh God, I can't think of his name right now. The guy that was a chef at Hus, Sean Brock.
Oh, okay.
He was asking about living in Charleston, going from New York to Charleston, and he was like, "It's terrible. Traffic's terrible." He was like, "This and that," and he was like, "You shouldn't come here. Traffic's terrible." Like looking at the camera, and then would go back, and they were laughing at the table. So
I mean, that is a fact. But on the topic of traffic, I just saw that because we live in Somerville, everybody, the overpass is open.
yeah, I went to the ribbon cutting Friday, and I've got to drive. I got to drive it with our mentees back like last year, and then did ribbon cutting. And I mean, it's going to be great. There's a lot of people who are negative about it, but I'm like, man, I realized today I came from Charleston I had to go to the Tanger outlets today. Traffic sucks, but traffic in every city right now is terrible. So it's not like we're own the market on it, but it's not the traffic that's bad. It's the drivers that are terrible. Like the education of the drivers is hard. They don't know how to go off of the left lane. You know, they think they have the right to be in the right lane at 50 miles an hour when you're on an interstate with
Preach, brother.
people cut people. Like it's the education of the drivers that lacks more than the actual traffic itself.
Now, this would be a huge pain in the ass for me, but I think it would be beneficial if we all had to go for, like, driving, like, you don't get your license renewed unless you can pass the test again, because I feel like a lot of people would not pass.
Yeah.
The horse shit that you see, that's almost what we're most known for. Like, more and more people keep moving in, and so everyone's judging all of our driving, and it's so accurate. Like, I don't want to throw myself into the boat. I think I'm a pretty good driver.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are so ignorant when it comes to driving that I didn't think I was going to be a road rage guy, but I'm a road rage guy. And I'm like, what in the world? I'll honk my horn in 3 seconds at a stoplight because I know they're sitting on their phone.
Yeah.
And it drives me insane.
So I moved here from Jersey where it was high traffic, and the thing that's crazy is like there are people like, oh, they drive so crazy up there. I mean, they kind of do, but they do it together. Like everybody merges in sync, everybody cuts each other off. Like you still have some cutoffs, but I'm like, but it's organized chaos. You know, like they know how to do it. Where here, you have somebody's doing 30 and somebody's doing 70 trying to work together, and it doesn't work. Like at least everybody up there is hauling tail.
Yeah.
And they move efficiently, but here. And I unfortunately have road rage, and I hate that my kids see it. But yeah, it's a problem. But I'll say this to your point: you're not far off too, because man, and not to get political, but like I have a concealed weapons permit, and now it kind of doesn't matter. But when I got it, if you let it lapse, you got to get re-educated all over again. And the same should be true. I think cars are way more dangerous than guns because there's way more of them on the road, and it doesn't take a big mistake to hurt somebody. I mean, we're going pretty fast and a
easily.
weak vehicle, so I think it should be mandatory that if you let it lapse, you got to do the drive. And that might be a thing, I don't know, but I don't know it to be, or at least it's not as strict, I should say.
Yeah, we don't have a Jamie to fact check a lot of this, so we're just flying on the wind here. But I feel like it's easier to hurt someone in your car, or you're more likely to hurt someone in your car than you are if you just have a gun at you.
100%.
Yeah, because I'm like, you're pulling out a gun. Whoa!
Yeah.
Everything escalated really quickly.
100%.
Yeah. Before we get too far, though,
Yeah.
and this also introduces the first topic I want to bring up with you.
Yeah.
I would like to introduce you.
Okay.
Frankie?
Yeah. Yes.
How do you say your last name?
Staropoli.
Staropoli.
Let me do that. Is that better? Yeah.
All right, that's good, because I brought it up, and I'm like, we're all saying different things, and like I need to know from the man himself.
I say Staropoli, but if you look at it phonetically, it's Staropoli, and I'm okay with that too.
Okay, that's usually what I do.
Yeah, then that's good.
All right. I mean, I would rather say it the way you like it.
All right, Staropoli.
Okay. My last name is Choir.
It's easy.
It's not.
People mess it up?
Oh, my gosh. My poor dad. Growing up, and he grew up, I don't even know how old he is, 50-something maybe? Definitely in his 50s somewhere. I don't know. That is a old man in soul, but younger when I see him. Just to give him a little compliment there. But he definitely felt more of the bullying with the last name, because it's Quire, and so people go straight for queer. And so he got that bullying, which is, I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
Let it roll off your back.
Yeah.
But Quirey, or query is the most common thing.
It's crazy.
I'm like, what in the world are we talking about? There's not two E's there. There's no
Yeah.
like IE, straightforward.
When I first saw your name on social media, I mean, choir was the only option. I didn't think there was another way to say it. So
I appreciate your intelligence, sir.
But I'm surprised. I'm not surprised at the level people will mispronounce names or whatever.
It's too easy. And I think whenever I was in school, it wasn't bad. Like
Yeah.
no one, if anyone did give me shit for it, I'm like, that's so unoriginal.
Yeah. If you want to go by last names in school, then you met the champ. Matter of fact, even when we can talk about this in a minute, but when I ran for school board, I put a star, so it's STAR. I put a star in the A, thinking that people would see that and think, okay, Staropoli, right? And people were coming up to the polls, be like, "Are you that Saint Ropoli guy?" And I'm like, "Oh man, that's not a period, dude. That's an A." Like, so yeah, it was. I was like, "Whatever. I'm just doomed. It's fine."
That's an A for effort,
That's
though.
right. Yeah. I really thought. Even the artist that did my logo was like, "I don't see it." And then once he made it, he was like, "That looks amazing. Like, I love it." So, because the star mimicked the A. But yeah, no,
I like that.
didn't work.
That's solid. I
People
feel
thought-
bad for like substitute teachers. I think they always had it the worst.
Oh yeah.
But they were so terrified of saying my last name that they wouldn't say it, which was great because then they would just say Caleb, which is a very uncommon name, at least whenever I was growing up. I think it's a little bit more common. I actually don't know. I don't keep up with names.
I feel like Caleb's strong.
But I don't know who that is.
No, I feel like Caleb is strong.
Oh.
Like it's a strong name.
I was like, I don't know Caleb Strong. Who is that?
yeah.
Yeah, so it was easy. They would just leave it blank, and I just immediately would fill in with the answer. It was just much easier to go forward from that.
Yeah.
But it's easier, I think, just to admit that you don't know how to say it.
Yeah, no,
And
agree.
just ask straight up.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you have a difficult name, you know people are going to struggle with it. And I think both of us would much rather not even try.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yep.
Now, to get into the thick of things.
Yes.
I have a topic that I really have been interested about because I haven't asked anyone else this, and I keep encountering this problem. In the last podcast I had with my buddy Ben Singer, we talked a lot because we do media for companies. So when I do it for Coastal, and he does it with Canine Revolution dog training.
Oh, yeah.
So we chit-chatted a lot, and we got into the whole I wanted him to be like my co-host for this. But he has a busy schedule.
Yeah.
And he was being honest. He's like, bro, I feel like you got too many things going on. And I'm like, you're 100% right. I do have way too many things going on.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get away from topics that I wanted to talk about with people.
Yeah.
And I like having these kind of conversations. So I'm going to push forward, and I'm going to do it despite my schedule.
Sure.
Bro, the amount of times that these podcasts have like corrupted file or scheduling issues or the audio just craps out. It's still going. What?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's nuts. And I've been talking about this with one of my friends, and she had a great question. She's like, at what point, depending on like what your religious beliefs are, the universe or God or something, when are they telling you to give up versus like pushing onward? You know what I mean? It's like, how do you read those signs of trying to navigate life in a path that you feel like you could go down, but someone's trying to either tell you not to, or, hey, I'm going to sharpen that knife so that you can do a better job later on?
Yeah. I think a lot of times, from a business standpoint, everything else, you look at ROI, what's the return on investment, right? So everything we entertain, what am I going to get out of it? I think there are certain things that we do where that can apply, right? Just because what is the measure of success? And it's more so if it's a passion project of yours, what's the measure of success for you? I can see it one way. There's a lot of things I've done that people didn't believe in, but for me, it was fulfilling or something I needed to do for me. So I pushed forward, right? And then there were a couple, like, man, I get laughed at. I don't care. I mean, I'm like, I get set up with a lot of stuff, and then sometimes I bail on things if I don't see the success in it, right? And so, like, I started a couple Instagram pages, and I'm just like, all right, I had fun with them. I'm done, And so, like, one of them was about cooking, and I thought, it was family style because I wanted to tell a story of how I grew up and the culture I was in and how I learned to cook and where it's progressed. And it just, like, I was like, oh, I'm going to make a cookbook one day and this and that. And then one day I was just like, man, I'm putting a lot of work and I don't have the time to devote like when I watch your guys' videos and other stuff, you guys have real good production, right? I don't have that time for that kind of production. So I'm like, all right, what's it going to get me in the end? Nothing really. Like, I mean, it's cool to tell a story, but I can do that in other avenues, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the beacons, like the mentoring thing, you know, that's hard, man, because there's a lot, I'm completely reliant on volunteers. And if I don't have the volunteers, I don't have a program. And so that was something that I really tried to reach out to and get people to help. And people were intimidated, but I was like, man, I know the mission we're doing is good. Like, I don't care if right now we're only starting with 12 guys, it's going to be strong. And you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing. And eventually, man, people saw the project. And now 4 years later, we went from 12 guys to 178 people. You know what I mean? So like,
Whoa.
yeah, but it was just something I refused to give up on because not necessarily me, like it did fulfill me, but I saw the impact it was. And I was like, man, like our community needs this more than I want to do it, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned to love it. And honestly, like if I can snap my fingers and do one thing the rest of my life, it would just be that and running that thing. But I think it has to be what's the return on investment for you, or what's the satisfaction to you and your spirit? You know what I mean? Like if it's something that's going to make you a better person or enlighten somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
you know, then yeah, I say press on regardless of the work.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah. There's a man.
Definitely. I mean, bro, kudos. That's a good answer. Because I
There's,
hadn't thought about that.
yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm weighing that whenever I am, like, when you're burned out and you're, like, really
Oh
weighing,
yeah.
like, what am I doing with my time? Am I spending all this time on a path that's literally leading nowhere? That kind of thing. So I'll weigh those, but I don't think about it in, like, the good times
Yeah.
as much. And it's hard to remember the benefits whenever you're being weighed down with, like, burnout and constant, like, not failure so much, but obstacles, if you will.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and this is where it changes for me a little bit, right? I've got two girls and a wife, and so for me, it's like, all right, is the time away from them worthy, so to speak, or is
Mm-hmm.
what's the impact going to be, right? And so you'll see me, most things I get invested in or things I get involved in are in hopes to make this community better, to make our life better. So I expect them to have some benefit of it, right? It might not be directly,
Mm-hmm.
but I also want them to know that life is not about always making me happy, and it's not always about what I want to do. Sometimes you do with others or for others because that's the right thing to do as a neighbor, as a community member. And so for them, I want them to see that part, but they got to know that it's not at their detriment. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not doing what I'm doing at the sake of my time with them. And sometimes I bring them along and stuff with me, and sometimes like tonight I won't, you know, but we got one who's babysitting and one hanging out with mom. So it's not a total loss, but I try to make sure they know that that time with them is the most valuable I can have. But if I'm doing something else, it's because I want them to directly benefit from some other work coming. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's good.
it's that's the hard balance, man. I don't always get it right too. There's a lot of times where I do stuff and I'm like, did I really need to miss time with them for that? You know,
Yeah.
and it's hard, but man, I always say this: as we learn, we grow. You know,
Amen.
yeah. So
I mean, and that's literally the point.
yeah,
Sometimes it baffles me that people can not question things. Like, I question a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm constantly questioning things, all the way from, like, why am I craving sugar to, am I putting this in my body? Am I feeling this way? Do I need to cut this out for better sleep? And I'm like, when it comes down to, like, emotional maturity, it's like, why am I feeling this way?
Mm-hmm.
What's like a root cause? Am I feeling this because of this? Well, why did that affect this and that kind of thing? So the questions is important, and using that as a driving force to grow, I think has been a huge switch in my life,
Mm-hmm.
kind of moving forward. I think when I started this, I called it aggressive motivation, because at the time that's what I needed.
Right.
And I wish I had had more of that in my life growing up, because aside from like childhood trauma and having like divorced parents at the time, and
Yeah.
bless their hearts, they were younger than me whenever they were dealing with a whole group of kids and trying to figure out a marriage, and my dad was in the Navy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nightmare to deal with. I can't imagine having to do that at the time. But there's just, I lost my train of thought actually when I got into that. That does happen with my ADHD
Yeah, I
brain.
hear you. Yeah, I'm a victim of it lately. Don't worry. You were talking about though your parents having to deal with what they deal with in the childhood trauma and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's just the growth is important, because if you're trying to navigate your life just raw dogging it, it's not going to go great. And you're going to be constantly stuck in this weird filth, and you're going to be stuck in these loops that aren't going to help you get anywhere. You're not really going to enjoy the life that you're supposed to be enjoying.
Dude, one thing a lot of people miss, man, that drives me nuts, and I try to take my own advice because somebody that gave me this advice is our boy Brad. Talked about like
Yeah.
overcommitting yourself and all right, because Brad is on everything and does everything, and he pulled me aside one day, and I'm cognizant of it. But my thing is that kills me about society is like, dude, some folks will celebrate burnout, like, oh, look what I'm doing, and I'm all involved in all this, and I'm so tired. But like, no, don't celebrate the burnout. That's the dumbest thing you could celebrate. Celebrate accomplishment. So my thing is, if you go to work all day and sit at your desk for 8 hours and just sit there, you're gonna celebrate your work at 8 hours? No, you are not productive to your company. You were of no value.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, if you were there for 4 hours and you doubled your workload or you saved X amount of profit, you were far more valuable to your company in those 4 hours than you were at eight. So the time doesn't mean anything. Your commitments don't mean anything. It's the productivity of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just because you're signed up for everything doesn't mean you're being productive. It just means you want your name on everything. But if you notice with me, like I only engage, you'll never, and this is no disrespect to the organization. It's just my personal opinion. Like I'm not really a big animal guy. My family, they always want a dog in the house. They want animals. Like for me, I'm like, nah. Like, I mean, I just don't want to deal with the animals all the time.
Bro, that's a ballsy stance.
So you're never going to see me on the board of Dorchester Paws, and that's fine. They have people who support them, and I think that's great that there are people who are, like I just said, my wife and kids, we always have to have a dog. But it doesn't align with my missions, right? All the boards that I serve on and all the commitments I've made deal with family wellness and children's well-being, and so that's my passion. That's where I want to see success. So yeah, if you come to me and like, oh man, we got this, I don't know, hot rod club, we want you to join. Like, no, I have no interest in I mean, I think they're cool, but I'm not going to join a club for hot rods. Like,
Amen.
yeah, right. But if you've got something that aligns with child's well-being or opportunity for success and all that, then like let's talk. I may not be able to do it, but let me see how I can support you.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, a lot of people celebrate burnout, man. I think that's dumb.
I used to.
Yeah.
And I liked, and I still do, and to go back to kind of build upon like what you're talking about with like balancing a lot. I like having moments where like I think I'm not going to butcher his name, everyone. You know I don't like doing that, but Andy Frisella, he's like Jocko Wink, I believe his last name.
How do I know that name?
They have like podcasts, his books.
Okay.
Jocko Go is like an energy drink and a whole bunch of other type of like supplements and whatnot. And it's always like he does it's like 90 days hard or something like that.
75 hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the same. Same
okay.
Company, same guy.
Okay.
And it's David Goggins, all those kind of people. It's just like, go. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't get comfortable. Don't be comfortable. Keep pushing yourself forward. And I like that. And a lot of times I need that kind of backup.
Mm-hmm.
But that led me to some of my worst moments of life because I'm not set up for that.
No.
And it took a long time to realize that although I need moments where someone is like, hey, quit crying, get up off the ground, keep pushing on. Like, keep going. And that is super important.
Yeah.
But at the same time, realizing like, hey, life is not about killing yourself for a goal that you have created.
Well, and dude, those guys are that way because they have an audience. I guarantee you if there was no audience and they were doing it for themselves, at some point it would fade. And I say that because, like, I don't think as people we're meant to go that way, right? And so, like, you're always looking for the next dopamine hit or the next adrenaline rush or something, and you can't have that much. It's not healthy for anybody mentally or physically. And I'll tell you, and this is one of my faults, and I think I use it as an advantage, but sometimes it really kills me. But I'm a 0 or 100 guy, right? So, like right now, I'm in the 0 stage. Like I need to get healthier. I need to get physically better because my health is starting to be affected. But I've got no spark in me to really want me to do better. But the minute I do, you're gonna see, man, that I'm gonna be running all the time, doing different activities, signing up for dumb stuff, and my wife's gonna be like, enough, and I'm like, I'm trying to get healthy, and then like I'll hit a wall, and I'm like, all right, I had fun, I did that, now I need to take a break, and the break lasts forever. And so I will say, I do thrive in chaos. Like if I don't have something lined up, and that doesn't mean working out, it just means anything. Like if I don't have anything in front of me, I'm idle, and idle for me is dangerous because I get lazy, I get complacent, like I need to keep going. But I will say that I've recognized that there's always something we're trying to seek, and like at some point that runs out and then you fall apart, or most people do, and that's my problem, and unfortunately, like I'm one of those guys that battles anxiety and all. Like I take Lexapro for full transparency, for and it's more so just because I noticed ever since I had kids, especially, man, if I don't take it and I let stuff build up, I don't really like I don't blow up. I'm not that kind of guy. I'll hold it in, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, so you'll see I'm upset. But then all of a sudden, like one day, I'll erupt, right? And so it can really mess with my emotions. Where if I'm on the Lexapro, it's kind of a consistent. Okay, I got this. We'll be fine.
All right.
I will say this: like I am a Christian, so being a Christian is completely like my walk has helped me deal with that. But I still need medication, and for the longest time, I struggled taking medication. I was like, am I saying that God doesn't exist if I take a pill? And I had my friends,
Yeah.
and this is what I was going to point. I was going to get to you. I had friends who were like, dude, God made the people that made those pills. God made those pills. Like, it's okay. It's not blasphemous to take, Lexapro. And I was going to say, man, when you need that motivation, I'm learning as I get older, it's incredibly important for men to have a circle of friends that are going to hold them accountable, for better or for worse, right? And that's what I've done is I've put guys around me who, like this morning, I got a text because I missed a run. And he was like, well, you ain't going to like me, but I pulled this person in, see you Thursday. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. But they know I need it, and they're going to push me, right?
Yeah.
But they're not going to push me until I don't speak to them anymore. They're going to say, like, it's going to start with you need to go, and then be like, hey, man, for real, like, you got a wife, you got kids, this is going to be good for you. Come on, we'll do whatever you need to do. And so your circle matters, man. And you see it a lot of times too. There's that story about how, Jesus healed a paralyzed man, not because the guy was paralyzed, but because his friends like broke through the roof and lowered him down to get to him. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, that's excellent.
yeah, like,
I don't remember that.
oh yeah, there was when Jesus was doing a miracle, they were, this guy was trying to he was paralyzed, and they brought him in on like this carpet, and, they couldn't get to him because the crowd was so large. So his friends scaled the house.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and they pulled the roof open and lowered the guy down, and Jesus blessed him because of that. And it was like, that's why it's important who your friends are, because you're going to have friends who are going to drag you down and take you with them.
Yep.
Or you're going to have friends that are going to protect you at all costs because they know what it does for them too,
So, I mean, that's easily the biggest lesson that I've learned for my anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
Is having that close circle. And I have a specific couple that I go to. I'm like, hey, no matter what, like you've heard like the 8 to 12 minutes thing with a friend.
Yep.
And I've mentioned it to him. I don't ever reach out. I'm like, hey, do you have 8 to 12 minutes? But I'm like, hey, can I come over and just like, you want to share a beer? He's like, absolutely, come over. And sometimes, because I mean, I'm not always depressed when I ask to come drink a beer,
Yeah.
But there are times, and I'll kind of clue in, I'm like, I'm having a rough day. And it's hard to say I'm having a rough day.
Yeah.
And it feels like I am being defeated by the illness, which is a lie, because I know I'm beating it at that point. Like I'm overcoming the mental weight of whatever it is at the moment, because I was talking to a friend, like my depression has like different categories, whether it's something that's anger related or lonely related, or just the burnout depression where nothing matters anymore, that kind of thing. And I have to kind of keep pushing forward, and I'm like, I need, and we all do need the group, those people, to have someone tear down a roof and lower you down.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And not even for them though, man. Like it had nothing to do with them. It was just to get their friend better.
That's hard to do these days.
Yeah.
Especially now, like with COVID, I feel like we're so isolated, and we've been so comfortable being isolated. And it's mainstream now to go through like so much like therapy and healing, and I see a lot of this on like TikTok and Instagram. It's like, hey, now that I'm going through all my healing, I don't want to go back out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in the chaos of the world and the unexpected. And like, but you're also missing out, on a huge like community standpoint of where we can build each other up, and you can actually grow better because you have that group of people.
Yeah. I remember one of the coolest things was, because, COVID hit, man, and I mean, it was funny. My wife's a nurse, so I watched, like, the swine flu and all those other things take place, and SARS and all.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it just never, like, hit the way COVID did. But then COVID hit, man, and the shutdown, like, everybody went into panic mode, right? And admittedly, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, well, maybe we should just stay in for 2 weeks and be cool. I don't know. But then I was like, this is dumb. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to why the people are doing certain things. But then, like, Coastal all of a sudden one day put a pop-out tent outside and a table, and we're like, hey, come get coffee. We still want you to, and I was like, that's huge, man. I got to go out of my house for a little bit, go get a coffee, with the restrictions that the town wanted or whatever, go say hi to some of the people I saw daily, and life seemed like it was getting back to normal, and it was a refreshing thing, right? But I think a lot of that had to do with because, the people that shop, I consider them friends. I see them all the time. They're great business people. They welcome you in. And so, yeah, it was like seeing friends again, and it was really cool because you didn't want to be that guy that put anybody in danger, right? So you didn't go hang out at your friend's house if they were not comfortable. But with Coastal opening, I think it was different from a grocery store being open. It was more like your friend being like, hey, man, come get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Would love to see you. And I always appreciated that. I thought it was good. But, man, through history, we're told as men we're supposed to be strong, and we got to suck it up. We got to get it done, like all this other stuff. So, like, communication, talking about it, any signs of weakness, it's all like, and I think that's trash because...
Absolutely agree.
At a certain point, like, it's not about me anymore, like, sadly, and rightfully, but I'm the last person I consider when I do something, because I want to make sure that I'm effective for others, and so, especially with a family, but, sometimes I can't talk to my family because I don't want them to know what I'm dealing with. I don't want them to have to worry. That shouldn't be a burden they have. So it's important to have friends and be like, hey, can I call you? Or, can we have a drink? I need to chat. And I've got a couple at my disposal, which I'm very fortunate of that I can do that. But man, like, men need tribes. I say that all the time. And like, we have to go through life together. We can't do it alone. Like, that's why you unfortunately see the high number of suicides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dude, depression, anxiety, those are all real things. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you deal with it. Just make sure you're staying on top of it, right? It's when, and it's hard to do in the moment because I've been there, but it's when you're down in the dumps, man, like, and you don't feel like talking to anybody that you really need to reach out and be like, hey, I've gotten good, and this is more of a humble brag, I guess, but I've gotten good about noticing when friends are in it.
That's really good.
Because of the lack of communication or the lack of humor. Like, I pick up on signs, and I'm like, all right, he's having a rough time. I'm going to reach out and just be like, hey, I love you. What's going on?
That's the dream.
So,
as someone who deals with it, you always hope that somebody could pick up without you having to say it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really good at masking, and it's not always easy for everyone else to catch on.
Yeah.
And even if they do catch on, maybe you don't have that kind of friendship, or like, I don't feel like it's my place to say something.
Yeah, I know a couple examples, man. Is awesome. Is like Matt Halter. You know Matt?
Do I? I probably do. I better know his face.
If you saw him, you would know him. But anyway, like, one day I was down. My back was just, I don't know what happened, man. I went through this back pain, and there was a period where I couldn't run, couldn't do anything. Like, it hurt to walk, and like, I was, I was down and out, but it was messing with me. So he called me, and he was like, hey, coming over to run with you. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to run. He's like, well, then we'll walk. And I was like, dude, we'll see. And he's like, we'll walk. And so it got to that point, and I just text him in the morning, like, hey, I'll see you later, man. I can't walk, like, whatever. And he just texted me back and was like, too late, I'm on your porch. And I was like on the swing, and he was like, I'll see you outside. And I was like, dang. So I went out there, and we actually talked for 15 minutes about what I was going through and all. And he was like, come on, we don't have to do anything fast. Let's just walk, you and I. And we ended up walking for like 45 minutes in town, which did me so much good mentally, And then, like, there's other times, like, I was in Bible study, and our boy Russ Touchberry was sitting across from me, and look, no shocker here, I'm a chatty guy, but I was quiet, and I didn't realize I was being quiet. I was just kind of like in my head thinking of other stuff, and it was at the end, and it was quiet and had nothing to do with me. But Russ was like, what's up, Frank? And I looked at him, and he was like, you quiet, you good? And I was like, you know what, no, I'm not good, and kind of went into this whole thing. And but it was when he recognized my issue, when I was like, okay, I need to be mindful of others' issues, because had he had let that morning go, I don't know where my head would have gone. And I don't, look, knock on wood, I hope I say I'm never going to hurt myself, right? But, I just know I was in a bad way that morning, and him asking me that question allowed me to vent and just do my heart some good. So, but it definitely opened my eyes to, okay, I need to be more aware of what my friends or my family are going through, and be more mindful of it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got 2 points to hit on that. I had a buddy. It's actually the first guy I had on the podcast, a friend of mine, Ben Banky.
Ben.
Yeah.
Love some Ben.
God, he's amazing. He's really good about picking up on that as well. And especially because and this is one of the fears, I think, of opening up, is someone, like, judging you. And not so much as like, oh, you're like I don't know. It's the weakness aspect of
Yeah.
it all, what we all struggle
You're a
with.
wimp. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're weak. I get it.
And he didn't give a shit about that.
Right.
And it was great. Like, he'd harass me the entire time knowing what I was going through, and he eventually like called me out. I'll never forget this.
Which is awesome too, because not to interrupt you, but Ben's like a UFC, jiu-jitsu, like, I mean, tough man. Well, he likes tough stuff. So for him to be careful and to,
yeah,
show that's huge.
It's one of his greatest assets, or traits.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm going for.
Yeah.
Is that he can pick up on the energies of other people like that. And he mentioned something. Now, granted, it was a busy Friday night at the brewery. And this has been like a bit of a turning point for me, where I got really comfortable with like my emotions and just kind of the maturity of like going through it. Bro, I broke down right there in the brewery, full of people. I'm crying at the bar, and like, and I didn't mean to, but the moment someone surprises you, when you think you're doing a decent job, because I was there taking pictures doing my job, and he like sat me down, and I was like, it's gonna make me tear up a little bit, but it was a really good moment, and I appreciate that so much, and it also has helped me accept the fact that whatever I'm feeling. It's going to come out. Whether I'm at like Target and I'm bawling, or I'm at a brewery, or I'm at home in my own room, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which has been really good, because then I don't judge myself based upon what I'm going through at the time.
Right.
And I know it will pass at some point. The other side of that is Brad.
Yeah.
Who isn't. And now I'm trying to throw Brad on the bus, because I will have him on here at some point. He's not immediately good at picking up on those cues.
Yeah.
When he slows down, because that man is just like,
he is 100 miles an hour.
100 miles an hour all the time. But there are moments where he'll slow down, and he'll notice, and he's really good at picking up on those people, especially in his circle, that he cares a lot about.
Yeah.
And the other day when I went over to Richard's house, who is my fallback guy.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Brad's here." I was like, "That's great. That's fine. I mean, I know Brad loves me. I'm part of his family, so that works." And I got there, and he's on the back porch smoking a cigar and drinking or whatever, and they're about to go to a River Dogs game, so maybe an hour of time. I'm like, that's plenty of time just to sit, have a beer, have someone else like talk about stuff to help me get me out of my own head.
Yeah.
And Richard was out doing something I don't even know, so Brad was like, "Oh, what's up?" And I was like, "Real bad day. We're having a rough day." And he goes, "Oh, what's going on?" So his brain immediately went to like coastal and all that other stuff. I'm like, "Oh no, that's all good. It's just my mental illness and the depression and everything." And what I really love about Brad is that that did not affect him whatsoever. He goes, "Oh shit, well sit down, like hang out."
Yeah.
And that was it. There was no like sympathizing. I mean, I think he understood.
Yeah.
And it was the lack of putting a spotlight on that, which helped out tremendously.
Yeah, no.
It was just that immediate acceptance, like, that sucks. Welcome to the table.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, he's
like, it's so good.
He's not a direct like. All of a sudden, the violins don't cue right behind you, like the soap opera music and all. Like, it's not that with him, but it's just like, oh man, let's chat, And you're exactly right. And dude, he's given me some of my best advice, and he's somebody like dude, when he's in the coffee shop, he's 1,000 miles an hour trying to bounce everywhere, because I think he tries to get out of there as fast as he can.
Speed walking, man.
But if you're like, "Hey man, do you have a second?" He'll pull the chair up, like, "What's up? Let's talk." And like he puts aside time. Like, I appreciate that skill set with him.
He's really good about that.
He's a good one to have, but if you happen to catch him with a cigar and bourbon, man, you probably got him for the whole night. That's And I mean, we all enjoy them, so it's always fun. But
So I can't do cigars for a lighthearted topic switch right there. They make me so nauseous.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Are you inhaling?
No.
Oh.
I can't do them in any capacity.
Really?
Except for like the super like flavor like Phillies. Remember those back in the day? It was,
Yes,
like,
I
into the
do.
strawberry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I love them. I love certain ones, but yeah.
I've smoked so many things, but cigars have always kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, depending on the kind I'm smoking, there may be a couple times where I have to throw a little spit out just because that tobacco will get in you, and it's strong, man. Usually it's with the dark cigars, but no, I enjoy it. He gets into them way more than I could. I will tell you what has been a nice supplement. I think during COVID I did this, was actually I bought a pipe, and because a pipe, you hit a couple puffs, done. That's it.
Bro,
but a cigar is I bought a cigar one time. It was called a 70 ring. It was like that big.
What?
And it was like a 3-hour commitment. Like we went on vacation as a family. I sat on the dock at the lake and I just smoked it for a couple hours and like sat out there. But I mean, unless you want to cut it and finish it later. But a pipe, man, you pop a little tobacco in, and then like boom, dumping it, and that's it. You know.
Dude, the pipes.
It's gonna be a good sound effect, by the way.
Yeah, it's like the ASMR. I tried pipes for a long time. That was like my gateway into stuff. I was raised like super Baptist, and so it was like the moment I moved out of the house and all this stuff, I was like, well, we're going to experience life now.
Yeah.
And here we go. Like I didn't drink until I was 21. Nothing happened until like after 21.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was raw dogging life for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like I got a little corncob pipe. I couldn't keep it lit.
Oh yeah, it's a
I
little
tried
chunk,
so many different pipes, and then after like and I wanted the whole like, and it's played up in like movies, obviously. I didn't pay attention to that so much at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, everyone's always just like puffing on pipes like Sherlock Holmes, and then just kind of keep doing stuff, and then they puff a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works.
No.
It goes out so fast.
It does.
And then you're puffing, and my tongue would get numb.
Oh.
Just the constant like.
Oh, you might have it packed too tight then.
Oh yeah, I could never figure out the right ratio.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
know pipe smokers, and I'm always awed. The fact that you can keep it going to where you're happy and the consistency is right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is kudos.
Well, and it's funny because cigars, I want a tobacco cigar, but in pipes, it's always like creme brulee or some kind, or French toast or some kind of flavor.
It smells so good.
But generally, you don't get raw tobacco in a pipe, or like at least most shops I've seen, it's always a flavored tobacco. So that's the only time I hit the flavors. But normally, again, the kids hate if I smoke a cigar at the house. I really don't on occasion, but I will pull a pipe out and have a couple drags, and then it doesn't really smell on me. They don't, I don't really taste it leaving the table, but certainly, like I'm in a bourbon group with Brad, so if we smoke a cigar and have some bourbons, man, it's all right. I need a ride home.
Bourbon is so nice.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
It's my favorite thing. Do you have a favorite?
100%.
What's your favorite?
Small batch, Four Roses, or single barrel.
Okay,
I'm a Four Roses guy. Yeah.
I like Jefferson's.
Okay. Jefferson's
Also
Ocean.
small batch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
No, I haven't had the Ocean. I have just regular Jefferson's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
They have fancier, expensive ones. I've
Yeah.
never tried that. I've only gone for that tiny little bottle that they have there. Dude, I can drink that straight up.
I mean, there's so many. Like, I say Four Roses because it's very available and I love it. But Buffalo Trace is when Buffalo Trace is $26. When it's like 40, I'm like nah. But Buffalo Trace is another one that I think is really good. So.
Dude, absolutely. There's an off-brand of Buffalo Trace.
Benchmark.
Yes.
Benchmark's good.
Bro, you knew.
Yeah, Benchmark's good.
Good. I'm testing your bourbon club knowledge right
Yeah,
here.
Benchmark is good. Matter of fact, the guy Matt Halter I told you about, his company name is Benchmark. So like,
Oh, smart.
he bought everybody a bottle at Christmas. Where we're fortunate is it's only like I think $16 or $18 right now, but it's gonna trend, and some idiot's gonna be like, oh, we can get $30-something for it, and they're gonna kill it. But
the way of the world.
Yeah, but no, Benchmark's good.
Benchmark is good.
Yeah.
I've got the only expensive bottle I've ever been given. It was a gift from Ben Banky, actually.
Yeah.
It was like not like a retirement gift, but thanks for all your help.
Yeah.
During
when they shut down.
the operation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no, I just looked at it, so I don't know exactly, but I know Taylor is in the name.
Colonel Taylor's?
Something like that.
It's a tall, like gold cylinder. Yeah. That's a good bottle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's my special occasion.
Good for you.
I don't know how, like, I haven't really done my research. I don't want to know. I know it's a nice bottle, and he said his bourbon friends were like, oh shit, that's a good gift.
Yeah. No, it's a great
And I
gift.
was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I have it at Richard's house in his cupboard. I'm like,
I mean, it's not like $200 gift. I mean, and then I'm not knocking
no,
that.
no,
That's
no,
good
no.
to know. I'm just saying, like, don't feel bad like that way.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I mean, he definitely spent some good money, and it's also one of those. It's a little hard to find, not terribly, but no, it's a great gift. That's one that a lot of people would love to go to.
I can't wait. I literally told Richard today, like I said, I was talking to business with him. I almost was late to it on my own podcast. But I remembered because they have a bottle of it at Godwin's.
Yes.
And the guy, Austin, who was working, went, I don't know where he went, but he was showing us a picture. He had a bourbon haul. Dude.
Oh, they just went to,
Yeah, what is it? Because he...
where the hell did they just go? He was telling me. Go ahead,
It was
I'm
like
sorry.
a treasure chest.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, this is just like a fraction of my collection. I'm like, oh, my God.
Oh, he personally has a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
that dude.
I believe it.
has to be stacked. He was stoked about talking all about this and that, and he pointed it out. I was like, oh my god, that's what we have in your closet. I forgot about.
Dude, bartenders. If a bartender didn't have a good bourbon selection, they're a trash bartender. But like, I even know Liz at Azalea or Nat, Austin's girlfriend. If I ever have a question about a cocktail, I'm like, just make what you want to make. I don't care. Like,
Oh,
I
that's so
trust you.
nice.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I love going in and be like, surprise me. Although, like, I still have to stick with bourbon if I prefer. Like, I'm kind of on tequila now a little bit, but bourbon or
Ooh, all
tequila
right.
is about where I play. I don't really care for gin.
Oh, dude, I
I don't
love
do a lot
gin.
of vodka. So, bourbon whiskey or
Yeah.
tequila, I'm online with. So she was like, do you want bourbon? I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want refreshing, sour, like all the notes? And I was like, sweet, give me refreshing. Let's see what you got.
Ooh, a refreshing bourbon drink. What was it?
Man, she had something sour in there, and there was Aperol, I believe, or something like that. And she kind of surprised me. I will say,
Interesting.
my only gripe with that is I always see people at bars and they get these cool low balls or whatever. Every time they make me a drink or order a different drink, it comes in like a coupe or some feminine glass.
Yep.
And I'm like, you got to stop. I'm too big to be drinking this dainty drink. Like, and don't put a purple flower in there. I can't do it. So,
Did I lean into it, man? It's like, give me a purple coupe
yeah.
next time, whatever.
No, a guy my size with a beard shouldn't be drinking a dainty drink like that. Like, give me a tall boy with ice in it or something. Like, I
Oh
can't.
my
Yeah.
god, that's
So,
so funny.
and now I think they do it just to mess with me. But yeah,
I support that. That's funny as
yeah,
shit.
it was good.
I love, dude. I don't have a preference when it comes to like liquor. Um, I was not a big fan of vodka. I think when you start out, you're going to go with vodka. That's just the easier mixing drink, and it pairs well. Like in college, you know what I'm talking about? Like whenever I hit 21 and I had friends who drank, they're like, let's drink. Let's make all these crazy like
Yeah,
birthday
yeah,
cake shots and all that other stuff. All the flavored liquors and whatnot are vodka based.
yeah.
You throw that up enough, you don't want to drink it.
Yeah, I never. I'll be honest, man. Like vodka was never my jam. Like I don't know why.
That's fair.
I drank a drink in high school. I had a party while my parents were gone, and we got busted for it. But somebody made sneaky punch, and it was the first time I ever had that. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Gin, lemon, frozen lemonade, and a handle of beer or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was delicious when you're drinking it, but oh man, miserable hangover. And so, for whatever reason, I forgot when we started going out in college, like Jack and Coke became like the drink I grabbed because it was like a little bit of sweet, a little bit of whiskey. And so I was like, oh, I like that. That's good. I can drink that. And so much so, where shamefully now I have to admit, like my signature cocktail at my wedding was Jack and Coke, and my wife was like Malibu and pineapple juice, and like that's what we had as our groom and bride cocktails. Now I wouldn't dare drink a Jack and Coke or whatever, but it's like then that's how I got into it. And then man, a bartender that I worked with when I was cooking invited me to his apartment, and we went, and he had Baker's, which is at the time
Oh,
like a
yeah.
higher end bourbon, and it was so good. And I was like, I like this. And then we had Booker's, and it kind of started from there. So
Oh man, I mean, you get into the nice stuff. You're
yeah,
like, whoa.
yeah,
I got back into vodka because I was gifted a nice, like, straight Russian bottle of
yeah.
vodka. Game changer.
I
I
will.
was mind blown. I was like, what is
Yeah,
happening? And then I made a Tom Collins like that. It's very like effervescence lemonade-y.
yeah,
So it's a little sour,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like bright, and it was like a summer drink. It was a vodka summer. I went through that entire bottle real quick.
I will tell you, I've had a premium vodka before that was, you could tell, like very filtered, all that, and it was good. It wasn't good enough for me to be like, I'm converting. But I was
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna drink a vodka, I'll drink this one. And now I can't even tell you the name of it. So that's the impact it had on me. And it might have even been, I don't dare say Ciroc. It might have been something like that. And it wasn't Ciroc. Belvedere maybe, whatever. But anyway, I was like, oh, that's not bad. I can drink this because it was on ice. But then I was like, I'm still drinking vodka. Like I don't want vodka.
Yeah,
So
I feel you.
something about the weeded flavor of whiskey and
Yeah.
that
It just connects to our soul.
caramel, like I like all that. So it's a good, it's a good man
Preach.
drink. You want bourbon, leathers, and cigars. It's like what it
Yes.
should be. So
Give me like a dusk time.
yeah,
The sound of like the cicadas in the background.
absolutely,
Oh,
dude.
that's a wrap.
70 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
sun settling
On the porch with the breeze.
on the porch. Yep, it's
Southern life.
That's right. That's the best way to go. I love it.
Oh man, I don't keep liquor here. Do you have like your own like bourbon stock or whatever?
I mean, so up until January, I was in the alcohol business up so like 20
Oh
years.
my God, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I was 20 years in up until January. So like, yeah, I had like a rack at home that has wines on it, and then a rack at home
Mm,
that has like other liquors, and then I have like a converted gun cabinet that's my bourbon cabinet now. So like, it only holds bourbon in it.
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I have a stash at home. But you know, man, honestly, people laugh at me, and it's fine because it's just I've been blessed. I've not been one that has ever really battled an addiction or like a vice,
Hmm.
except food. Food's my like thing. But I have all that alcohol in my house and I barely drink. I might if I'm not going to a function or you're not at my house as a guest, I might have one drink a month or two drinks a month. That's it.
Yeah.
So like tonight, I'm drinking because it's worth the occasion, but I wouldn't crack one at home and have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I can. I mean, I can stare at that stuff all the time and just be like, eh. Now, have I had some rough days where I've been like, I'm gonna go crack a bourbon and go sit on the porch? Yeah, like certainly. But yeah, one or two and that's it.
Dude, I not to like envy you so much, but
Yeah,
it's a nice thing to have.
yeah,
I had to take 6 months off from drinking at
yeah,
one point because I didn't even notice it until it was a little bit like I was like, oh, this is a bit of a rock bottom. I
yeah,
didn't realize that I was here, and I
yeah.
think that's usually how it kind of happens. It's like it was easy to ignore all the outlying issues that I was dealing with and have something to drink. And so it kind of became a thing. It was like if I'm working on something, then I'm like, yeah, well, why not? Like my brain wants that dopamine kick or that little treat.
Yeah.
And even now, it's that way, which is great because now I just go for like kombucha or something a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more healthy to my body.
Sure.
And it's the same benefit without. But the moment my body gets that buzz, it wants the buzz. And
Oh
so
yeah.
so if I start to calm down, I don't want it because then the first drink, I think they did like some science on it. It's like the first drink actually is a bit euphoric, and then after that you're chasing that euphoria that you get, and you can't.
Hmm.
Like the rest becomes like super downer, and so that's why people keep drinking, and then they just get worse and worse. And that's kind of how I was,
Yeah.
and I got so bad is like I would, I was hunting at the time for a bunch of markets, not like farmers markets exactly, but like events where I could set up a
Antique
booth.
stuff, whatever.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a
Or
lot of
vendors.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like music festivals,
I don't
if
want
you
to call them a
will.
flea market, but I know what you're talking about. Like
It
just
very much felt like a flea
yeah,
market.
right.
Not to put any shade, but like
No, no, right.
Alwyndaw does this a
Yeah.
lot.
I know what you're talking about. The Allwendale thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
great vibe,
Yeah.
great people,
Absolutely.
and I love the fact that they're so welcoming, and I could set up and I would
Mm-hmm.
sell like paintings, but I couldn't go unless I had a cooler of beer, and so I would sit there and I would drink my beer, and that was how I got through the event. And then it came out, I was like, oh, I'm spending more money on the beer to make it through these events than the money I'm making.
Yeah.
And it got really out of control.
Yeah.
And so I took 6 months off, and it helped out tremendously. It kind of like separated what I was using it for and forced me to face
Yeah.
those situations head on without the vices.
Sure.
And so like every now and then I'll get a little too turned,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the depression will come and slap me in the face for a bit. So then I'm like, all right, we're gonna wean off for a little bit, and I won't drink for like a week or two, and then. But nowadays I don't drink at home a lot,
Yeah.
unless I'm with other people,
Sure.
and like I'll hang out with Richard, and it's been nice because I hang out at the coffee shop Monday through Wednesday to work a little bit more often.
Right.
Got a bit of a raise. I'm not gonna brag,
Yeah.
but I'm
About
doing
time
more
Brad
work
came off
at
some money.
Coastal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which has been really great. So it's like I finally have the opportunity and money to do all the things I wanted to do at Coastal.
Yeah.
And it also means that I get to be there more often in the environment. So like after work, and we're just like, hey, we have that really good feeling of having a good day of work.
Yeah.
And you get to relax, and my buddy's cracking a beer. Like, I'm cracking a beer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is a really healthy way of enjoying alcohol, because when I come home, there's nothing else, and I sober up and I eat dinner, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just go to his house and I stay at his house, and it's just this way it goes. And if I have drinks here, it's not so much that I'm doing it to get drunk, but I know if I start drinking, I'm going to chase that buzz, and so I have to mentally like kind of prep for it. The only counter effect is the fact that I know how shitty I feel if I keep drinking, and
Yes.
that'll actually help deter it pretty well.
I was just about to say, man. So like, I don't know that I necessarily chase the buzz. I don't mind the relaxed feeling,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, okay, at some point the room's gonna spin. You're gonna be not like stop, and I have enough fortitude in my brain to be like, we're done, and that's not always the case, but 98% of the time it is. Or if, I mean, honestly, like, I'm in a space now where I can't afford to make a mistake. So, like, I know if I'm going to drive, okay, you can't function past this, right? So I'll order waters or something like that to help me out. But, no, I'm with you. Shamefully, the only time I ever enjoy a beer at the house, and I'm like, I'm going to have a beer, is in the summertime when I cut the grass and do yard work. I'll crack the skunkiest beer in the shower, just because I'm like, you know what? It's like water. I'm gonna enjoy this beer because I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I even think for a season, somebody gave me a 6-pack of those Natty Light pink lemonades, and I'm like,
Okay.
crushing them. It's a shower beer. I'm not, whatever. I will say, last summer,
Yeah.
I had that cold plunge set up in my back porch.
Yeah.
Dude, there was nothing better than cracking open a cold, like, Mick Ultra or Coors Light, like, sitting in that cold tub after cutting the grass, and I'm hot, overheated, and like, in the winter, I can't wait to get out, but in the summer, I'm like, I'm gonna have a cigar. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit because it's 55 degrees. The weather is like 100 degrees, so it's a nice balance. Admittedly, that's the only time I'll say I drink alone at home. Otherwise, I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much of a benefit to it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's a very social thing.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it social.
I was lucky. I grew up with a family that if there was alcohol on the table, it was communal because it was meant to be shared with the meal. It wasn't meant to indulge in and like get hammered on. And I mean, I remember, like, I was a young kid. We were at my dad's uncle's house, and he poured, like, I would say Cavassier, but it was some cognac, some older cognac, right? And his uncle was well off and had like one of those big tables. And I remember my dad and uncles and the cousins all sitting there, and I was 12 or 13 or 14, I don't know. But my cousins, everybody was of age. And so my uncle pours a glass, and like he slides one by me, and I'm like, no. And I'm sitting next to my dad. I'm like, I can't drink. And my uncle, Italians get insulted, and he was like, you can sit at the table with the men, you can have a drink. And my dad's like, take a sip, like no big deal. Oh, no, it was terrible. I drank it, and I was like, never again. And so it kind of scared me away for a while. I was like, I don't want to deal with that. But I also think having that exposure of, it was more of a social communal engagement than it was just something like to get rid of problems or something that helped deal or whatever. I'm grateful I didn't have that exposure to it because I don't, the only addictive a personality, like I said, I've ever had is food. And like, I don't know, I mean, I shouldn't say I grew up, I came up in like kitchens for a little while, so it's a big drinking and drug environment, man, and it was just not
easy.
It was not something that ever appealed to me, and I'm grateful for that because I've seen a lot of good dudes go down from just overindulgence, on all sides.
You don't usually see too many people go down from enjoying food.
No, I mean, yeah, and if they are, they're happy.
They're eating good.
Yeah, but it's no, and it's hard for me to impart on my kids at the age they are now because one of them's 15 and about to drive and all, and
oh wow, big number.
Yeah, but it's like, man, you want to tell them so bad, like, you want to talk to them about it, but you also don't want to be the one that plants the seed either, right? So I'm careful, but I've seen a lot of people either lose it all or risk it all, like, just for that. And I'm like, it's not worth it, man. God, it's not worth it,
Dude, so. I've never been the dude who could just straight drink it, like, out of a bottle. That's always blown my mind. Until I got, like, nice, like, bourbons and whatnot. It's, like, the only thing I'll be able to drink. Granted, I like it neat on the rocks, you know what I'm saying? Not neat, but I like it on the rocks.
Yeah.
A little bit backwards there. But, dude, when you see people just, like, chugging a bottle, how?
Yeah.
How? You were just killing whatever demon is living with you, and it's not working because you have to pound so many bottles.
Well, and people would always be like, oh, you sell wine for a living, how cool. Well, one thing they didn't know is, like, some of the stuff I'd be exposed to is, I sold wine and some nice wines to some stores, but I would be at a food line and see the same guy come in and buy the same 5-liter of wine he just bought yesterday that he just crushed, and he's going to crush that one today. Or you see the guy go in the liquor store that's counting the pennies or whatever he just found because he's buying a pint, and he's going to be back 3 more times that day to buy another pint, And so you kind of saw the demonizing of it when you saw the celebration of it. And for me, it's always, and listen, that environment was also an environment where a lot of people I was close to when I was employed, are now recovering alcoholics. Like, they almost lost it all and had to go to AA, and they're 8 years recovered now, or they lost their marriages. There's you saw it wasn't always glamorous. Like you
Yeah.
saw a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, man, I was always good about getting on this side of it and just not letting it run me, you know.
That's
Um,
really good.
I was able to separate like, hey, this is a business. I want to make a business out of it, and I want to prosper. Like I'm not in this to get hammered all the time and to be social.
Yeah, you're not gonna go very far.
No, and there was a benefit to it, you know. Like it was. I mean, look, telling people you sold alcohol for a living, there's a sexiness to it, right? Like now I'm in the construction field, and when I tell
That's
people I'm in
fair.
construction, they're like, huh? You know. But I mean, like, you know, when you have wine, people are like, oh, what do you drink? What can we get
Yeah.
some? You know, that whole thing. But it was just again, I was able to do a really good job of separating the two, and I think I watched a lot of people that become their demise, and I'm like, man, it's a shame. They're really good people. They had good hearts. They were smart.
Hmm.
It was just a vice that took over that, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it's I'm like you, man. Like seeing somebody drink it straight from a bottle. I mean, unless you know we were drinking, there was no cups, and we were all taste. But I mean, that was years ago, and I hadn't drank out of a
Yeah.
bottle in years, you know. And I don't do the other thing I like. I like some beers. Like I love this, but I can only do a couple of them, man. Then I feel 9 months pregnant after like three of them, right? Where
Super bloated.
bourbon, I'll drink slower,
Hmm.
and I can drink a couple glasses and not feel like you know my stomach's out here and
Hmm.
I'm bloated and all that, you know.
That's the beauty of cocktails too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it,
yeah.
but I think you can't really like chug it. I mean, you can chug a cocktail,
No, sure.
but I think it's harder to chug a cocktail. Whereas if you're just pounding beer, send it.
Yeah.
Grab another one.
Oh, I
Like
mean,
it's made. You don't have to do any effort. You aren't juicing limes. You aren't crushing up the ice a specific way. And that's actually half the beauty, in my opinion, of making a cocktail is the science that goes into it, which is ironic because I hate cooking. I hate it. But it's the same, like, formula, if you will. Like, preparing everything is very methodical and kind of, like, probably lets you just kind of, like, relax and get into a zone. And, like, Richard's really great at making cocktails.
really,
Oh, hey, he is so good. He's also really good at cooking, so it kind of goes hand in hand, in my
I
opinion.
love it.
Yeah.
See, I can't. I am not a mixologist.
No, but
Like I
he
cook,
loves it.
I can't. But ask me to make a cocktail for whatever reason, I'm terrible, man. I don't know why.
I do. I get pretty lazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll cut corners real quick.
Yeah, that's why I like bourbon. I think because I don't have to worry about an
Yeah.
ounce of this, 2 ounces of this. I'm just that's it. So
I'll just give you a little bit of sweet tea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine. Wild turkey and sweet tea, I'll be
yes,
happy.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's good to know about Richard. Okay.
oh, he's a man, and he gets super excited. He
Yeah.
also loves like cooking, which is a bit of a new thing. It's probably great now because he's about to be a dad, so
Yeah,
he's gonna be
it's huge.
good about cooking. But he
Yeah.
gets so into it, he'll talk to me about it. I'm like, Rich, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm exhausted hearing about it. And that's just beans.
Yeah.
That's and I know when it started because I hate this thing. It's during COVID, it got really popular. When you get the dinners and they would give you instructions and they give you everything kind of like doled out. It's like HelloFresh or something.
Yeah. That's funny.
He would get because people would get so much because it's subscription based. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
would get them and they're like, Caleb, you can do this.
They would just pass them to you, or
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like the instructions are there. It's
Yeah.
already measured out and everything. No, it doesn't teach you how to cook. It just
You
gives
just
you
follow
like,
instructions.
yeah. And I'm like, I remember trying to make a burger one time, and it, for some reason, took like 2 hours. And I'm like, it said 45 minutes. What is happening? And I
Yeah.
have like 800 dirty dishes,
yeah.
and the burgers were raw in the middle. And I'm like, I still don't know actually how to cook them.
Yeah.
Despite the instructions, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh wow.
And I had to like come up with I had to eat eggs for like the third time that day. So I was real pissed off and I hated it. But he got into it.
Yeah.
Loved it. And so
Yeah.
now he's like very much into it and he went and visited friends in Guatemala and got Guatemalan beans. So now he's obsessed with beans.
Oh Lord.
And he makes killer margaritas. Those are his bread and butter.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to hit him up for something.
Yes. You should absolutely try and get one of his margaritas because they are the best. Godwin's makes a great margarita, but Richard is
Yeah.
my point man.
I'm gonna
for
have to try it.
margaritas. Yeah.
So I will tell you this because you'll understand this. Cooking, yeah. Sometimes now on the reverse side, I look at people who can't cook, and I'm like, at the very least, just follow the instructions. It can't be that hard, right? And so I kind of get a laugh out of it. But in your situation, you'll get this, and like, because I've watched some of your videos as an artist.
Oh yeah.
Cooking is an art. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There are people who are better than others, but cooking is an art. And to be able to be gifted to know, like, I've watched you mix colors and the way you apply them and all, and I'm like, man, you could give me, and I have done this because, God, somebody gifted me this little tiny canvas. It was Bob Ross sceneries, and like ones are these two, but they were watercolors.
Oh.
And dude, it looked like a baby took a dump on the canvas. And I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong. Like I just mixed water with these colors, and it said to mix 1 and 2, but I didn't get the right color. So it's that way for me. But like when you understand what goes with what and how it gets applied and the right way to marry them, it's a beautiful thing, man. And like I said, unfortunately, in the world of cooking, a lot of people think they're better than they are. That's the one sad thing. I see a lot of people like try things, and it's not a knock. I encourage everybody to try. I'm not that good. Like for me, there's a lot of things I need to know, but I do
Hold on.
Huh?
What the fuck did you just say? I've
Yeah.
seen what you can make.
Yeah, but on a level of like
That's
some
crazy.
stuff out there, man. I mean, there's like I don't put myself up there as like a top chef. Like I even watch the show Top Chef, and I'm like, man, I couldn't think of a recipe on the fly like that. But
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
but for me, I will have thoughts, and I'm like, how did that go off? Yeah, we're gonna get that one. Sorry, folks, didn't mean that. But I look at stuff, and I mean, literally, I had that on Do Not Disturb. How that guy broke through.
Oh, if he calls you twice, that goes through.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, which
Can we
means
pause this?
Yeah, we'll pause it. We'll
Alright,
be
hold
right
on.
back, everybody. That was probably the best reason to break ever.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And it's on the topic of food.
It is. So I don't know where I left off. I do remember what I was saying, but like the whole
Or mixing flavors and whatnot, knowing how to do
yeah,
that.
like I'm not like the Top Chef guys. They got to think on the fly like that, right? And there are times where I look at something and I'm like, man, I like this flavor and I like that flavor. I think it would balance well together. And then I'm gonna pair it with this wine, and I think it's gonna bring it all home, And I do think that to a degree, I'm gifted with having that ability to blend some stuff. And I like just trying new things. So for me, it's the art, right? I wish I was better like plating some things because I think the plate matters. Like they always say,
Yeah.
people shop with their feet and they eat with their eyes, man. Like if it's appealing, they're gonna eat it. And so in the joke of talking about the taco trucks, sometimes that stuff doesn't come out the best looking, but the way those folks get those flavors in there, man, is incredible, right? And then, we were talking about this the other day because my wife hates it, like when I eat onions, just they linger, and I was telling a buddy about this, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, I don't like onions on their own, raw onions, but put them on a taco that's properly flavored with cilantro and all that all day long. It's the right flavor profile for what I'm eating. So you really got to know how to work with what you got, and yeah, it's crazy. So I think for you, if you had it in your head that cooking can be like art, then you might find a pathway to doing it a little bit more. And I'm not saying getting super fancy or anything by any means.
No.
But just
I see
thinking
where
of
you're going
yeah.
with it, yeah.
But like, man, I love eggs. I love this. I love this. Like, how can
Yeah. I get to the point where it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if I had like a reason to cook, like a date or something.
Yeah.
Which it's been centuries at this point. So this is just me for
Yeah.
myself, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care at this point. So I go with the bare minimum.
Oh.
It's like tossing chicken tendies in an air fryer.
Dude, I'm 100% with you.
But I do see where you're going. Another thing is I can't smell very great, and I think that definitely affects the way I taste things.
It will.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And so like, I don't even feel like I would appreciate
Yeah,
something appropriately, and I can't taste it. I'm an oversalter. I'm guilty as
Yeah,
charged.
yeah.
And the last person I was dating abused salt like crazy.
Yeah.
And then I had to wean myself off of like over salting things. I got so used to tasting just the salt in it. And
Do you use table salt, like the small grains?
No, I use it's like a more coarser like kind of
Kosher salt?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got to use.
But she was addicted to the Lowry's seasoned salt.
Oh,
I know.
my wife is. I hate it. I hate
Bro,
it.
it's on everything.
Yeah. I hate it.
Everything we made
Yeah.
had seasoned salt on it.
It's not even a cheat code, man. Like, it just sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like, I have some downstairs, and it's like lower sodium. I'm like, why am I getting lower sodium?
Yeah.
Now it's just like weird spices that don't pair well. Like I made the mistake of putting on my eggs the other day, and I was like,
No.
what have I done? No, it does go really well with sweet potato.
Oh, okay.
No, you probably won't.
I'm going to take your word on it. But
Don't take my word on it. I can't taste
But
things.
listen, just
Yeah.
to give you some credibility, when I'm alone, Yeah, dude, it's air frying chicken nuggets with like mayonnaise and gochujang and just like French fries in a bowl and like toss it, whatever. Like, it's absolute lazy, just comfort food. It's only when we have guests or whatever, and even my wife she hates it because like I don't cook for them at home because like but for me like cooking is not, I might make a quick pasta dish or something like that, but like cooking it and just something I want to throw together. Like I take time in it and I enjoy it. Like matter of fact, my family hates it because like if I'm actually make a meal, like upstairs, out of my hair, like I want the kitchen to myself. I put music on. I don't want distractions. Like I get in my element and my vibe.
Absolutely.
And let me do my thing, right? And for whatever reason, if you do this, I'm gonna ask you to stop. Well, at least for me. But when I'm in the kitchen, I want nobody in there, man. And we have an island, and for whatever reason, people tend to congregate on the stove side, and I'm like, you guys got to get the hell out of my way. Like you're killing me, And my wife will stand right there by the sink and by the stove, and I'm just like, hey, but you know what? Working in kitchens, it's a line, and everybody's got their station, and that is your area. And if you pass, there's always a coming down, or you know what I mean? Like there's communication.
Yep.
And you only do that because you have to go get something or something's in the way. But for the most part, you've got your station to work with, and that is it. Nobody crosses that line. And so, yeah, you got people like because you have hot stuff and you have sharp things all night long. So you don't want to burn anybody, you don't want to cut anybody or yourself. And people are just like, oh, what's that? And you're trying to swing around and do something. I'm like, dude, please, out.
I want to burn you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you're in the danger
or I will
zone.
Stab you because you're getting on my nerves. Like, yeah, you're sticking your finger in my pan, and I'm trying to cook for everybody else. Like, it drives me nuts. But
dude, I have always followed if you can't stand the heat of a kitchen, get out, or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm at Rich's house and they're cooking up a storm, I'm on the outside.
Yeah, good.
I'm leaning up against the wall. I'm sipping my drink. I'm making sure that the dogs are not going into the kitchen.
Well done, sir. Well
Don't
done.
let me get in there.
Yeah.
Because I feel so bad. Because I've worked in restaurants and whatnot. I've been a bar back. I understand, like, when they're in the zone, get out of the way.
Yeah.
And that is the number one thing. Like, don't mess up the flow. And whenever I was a barista at Coastal, it's the same way. I'm like, I've got it. I know where things are. I've got, like, things on the stove. I'm moving. I'm doing this and that and that. And the moment someone's in your way, it's like a scratch of a record.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't even.
I mean, dude, imagine, like,
that.
Now there's drinks lined up, and the girls are trying to make the drinks. And imagine somebody bebopping around them and grabbing stuff and not talking. I mean, like.
That'd be this guy with the camera.
Yeah. Well, you're getting content. And I get that. But what I'm saying is, like, imagine if Rachel's making drinks, right? And I'm just back there like, oh, there's that. Excuse me. Whatever. I'm in her way. Like, she's either going to spill espresso or knock something. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, dang.
Yeah.
It's annoying. And I remember that. So, like, yeah, I get it. That's kind of a good analogy. But, no, at home, man, let me stay in my lane, get out of my way, and let me go to work. But, yeah, I'm definitely too comfort food when it's just me, though. So I feel you. Like, date or you're entertaining friends.
Yeah.
Like I said, try to look at it as art. You might find a new little kind of quirkiness about it or something. Yeah, a new challenge.
Maybe.
Yeah.
See, here's the other thing, too. That's my issue.
Yeah.
Aside from, like, the ADHD part of my brain. I have too many other creative things that I want to do. So eating and cooking is now taking away from the other things that I really want to do.
Right, yeah.
And then I just get annoyed, which is stupid. Because I'm like, I have to stop painting because I'm starving.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I have to spend the next, like, hour cooking. How fast can I put something together that's going to give me nutrients so I can go back to what I want to do?
Dude, you might be a guy that benefits from, like, seriously, like, taking a couple hours on a Sunday and meal prepping for the week.
Yeah.
And then just pop it in the microwave, man, and then, like, go back to your painting. And that way it's not really cutting in that time, but you're getting fed. And it's something you like because you planned it out.
Yeah.
There was a season, man, especially when I was probably at my healthiest, where I meal prepped every Sunday and, like, took 5 hours. And I would just put all my stuff in my prep containers. And, yeah, during the week would just, all 3 meals were from that, and just pop them in the microwave or eat it raw, or whatever. And I would just, that was my whole weekly, unless we went out on a date night or something. And I loved it. I need to get back to that discipline. But, no, I guess the best thing I can say is, but when you have friends over or company and you're cooking for them, if you want to entertain one night, like the way I saw you looking at that painting downstairs of the birds, like that's kind of the joy you find as a cook or a chef with a plate or a finished product, right? Like I said, I need help on plating, but when I watch somebody eat something and they're just like, oh my God, I love this. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's, to me, like a painter would reveal their art and watch people just be like, oh, that's gorgeous, and start commenting on it,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally get it.
Or if somebody was like, I don't like this, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make it. You know, like I'm gonna make you like it because I'm gonna show you. It's generally the way you have things sometimes, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's certain things I truly believe when somebody says they don't like something, it's because they haven't had it prepared the way they like it.
Bro, I will support that all day.
Yeah.
I have Whitney, Richard's wife, and another friend of mine, her name's Tiffany, have both been like managers and waitresses of like big Sullivan's Island companies and whatnot.
Opposite and daughter-in-law, right?
What?
Opposite and daughter-in-law,
Opposite
right?
and daughter, and now Whitney's at Sullivan's, which was Sullivan's Fish Camp, but now it's just Sullivan's. Also fantastic. They're both incredible at their job. I think Tiffany is at Rancho Lewis.
Ooh, okay.
Pretty sure about that. So, Tiffany, I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. But because they've been in the restaurant business so much, they know the people. And so when we ever go out to eat, they're picking good spots. And we're sitting at the chef's table.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're just getting inundated with constant, like, creative, like, stuff. And I was super, I mean, it's not like I beat it. I'm lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
Which has been an issue. But I...
Hashtag me too. Sorry.
Hey, I love that.
I might get canceled for that. I don't know if that's still a thing or not, but whatever.
Great.
Yeah.
I've never taken my, until like probably like last, since I turned like 30 probably. I never took my nutrition serious at all. I'm talking about like quesadilla rolls and peanut butter and jellies.
100%.
And half of that was just survival mode. I didn't have money to do a decent job, but also it was just the choice of being ignorant and just getting ramen because I'm like, oh, it's cheap. I'm like not realizing how detrimental it is to my health. And so when I started hanging out with him, and I kept getting introduced to foods where I'm like, I'm not fucking eating it. That's crazy. What's wrong with you? You can't do that at the chef's table. You can't ask for alterations.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
You should have to take a lactate pill and deal with it.
And I do,
Yeah.
which is fun because it's always worth it. Even if I get home and I've got the stabs of pain or whatever, the outcome.
Yes.
It's... I have... And that's another thing that kind of leans me away from cooking. I've had some of the best food and the most creative, crazy. I'm like, I didn't even know you could do this with food. And it's an everyday thing for them. Yeah. And I'm like, y'all are eating this way all the time? That's crazy. And then I get home, I'm like, I don't even know where to start. I can't even shop at a grocery store without, like, being overwhelmed by everything.
Well, the give and take, too, is, like, I mean, their job when they come in every day is to prep their station. So they've got everything for that dish at their disposal all night, hopefully, until they run out. But, so, like, their thing is they're going to use those ingredients all the time, and they've got it down pat, right? It's different when we're going out and we're shopping, like, because they're buying ingredients that, you may only get like 3 snap pea pods on a plate. But how many plates are they doing in an evening, right? Well, if we want to duplicate that same plate, we've got to buy a whole bushel of them, and we're only using 3 of them. So it's like, well, do I need that much? You know what I mean? Like, so the purchasing part becomes a little challenging. But, I mean, they also, given their environment, they're going to have everything at their disposal. It's a little bit harder for you to duplicate at home, but you're right.
Fair.
And then you see some of these kitchens, man, like you can eat in some of the great restaurants and you look at some of the kitchens, you're like, man, it is rough back there, like just hot, sweaty, things boiling over. And it's like, man, they're putting out fantastic product and you would never believe it came out of the kitchen and came out of, like one place I worked was Rue de Jean, and I loved that restaurant back in the day. Nice. But dude, the kitchen, I mean, was just full bore, like just like hot, messy, you know what I mean? Like, so. And downtown kitchens are hot. But anyway, no, you're right. They it can get a little intimidating, but all the more reason to appreciate sometimes where you go and what you get. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's why I think it's incredibly important restaurants always stay on their game, because some folks take their stuff for granted, and I'm like, we do what we do, and that's what we do. Well, it's not necessarily true. You got a lot of competition out there, Bexley's in Somerville is amazing. Le Chèvre. I mean, there's so many good places in Somerville. I've heard a
lot about Le Chèvre.
Le Chèvre's good, man. And the cool thing is, like, my wife knows you're talking about Chef's Table. I wouldn't call it Chef's Table in traditional sense, but at Le Chèvre, they have a table that's right next to the kitchen window, and we made reservations on Valentine's because, like, they had, like, a soft opening. And he put us at the chef's table, and Jonathan's a great guy. I love, and Jason, they're all good people, but got to watch him cook. So she knows when we sit by a kitchen, I'm going to look at what they're doing because I love watching. And that's why when we go to Bexley's, we sit at the Raw Bar because I want to watch them doing their thing, and they're great people to talk to while they're doing it. But I love chef tables because you really get immersed in the experience. Like, you see the hustle, you see what it takes. It's not just somebody back there slowly placing good ingredients on a plate. It's turn and burn, quick, Yeah. And so you watch what these guys do and the care they have for it, and you're like, that's how everybody should be. And I'm going to be funny, but I'm going to be serious. Whether you're at Jersey Mike's or you're at a LeChevre or Bexley's, man, like, you just got to give everything you do. Give it 100 everything you do. And that really should apply. I would tell you this, and I joke about this all the time. Like, Brad gets my business, even as expensive as coffee is, but Brad gets my business because of the level of service you get when you go there.
Yes.
You know, the girls know your name. They know your order and what you like. You know, they treat you like family. You know, there's a couple other places I've been, I won't name, but it's like I go in there, you get a little bit of attitude. They don't have the best, you know what I mean, like the best product. They're not as friendly. And so Brad's coffee is great. Richard, I think, is phenomenal when he roasts. Like, he knows his stuff scientifically and everything. And he's also just a pleasant person to deal with.
Oh, my God,
But
he's the best.
all the girls at the counter are amazing. And the fact that, like, you walk in and everybody says, hey, Frank, they know you. They get your order right. Like, my bosses now, when we have our meetings, I don't even have to tell them. They see them walk in the door and they're pouring what they want and they're bringing it to the table, you know? And
Yeah, they're
like,
phenomenal.
so there's a recipe for all of it. But the fact that Richard is doing what he's doing behind the scenes on the beans, and like you guys are making the drinks you're making, is what sets you apart from everybody else. Just like those guys at the restaurants are taking their passion to that level. And you can tell it, man. I mean, like I said, just because you work at a Subway doesn't mean it's a joke. Take what you do seriously, because it's going to go into some other aspect of your life. And as rough as it was, I always say my best experience in my career, I've been in the workforce now, God, 30 years. But my best experience I've ever had in my career is on the lines in the kitchen. And they were some of my worst. But it was the teamwork I learned, the communication aspect, the quality in which I do stuff. I mean, dude, I remember getting thrown on my damn ass, like, from a chef, because he asked me to burn a creme brulee and to give him mussels. And I thought the mussels were going to take longer, so I started the mussels. And he was like, I need that creme brulee now. And my response was not, yes, chef. I didn't answer him. But he had a need for that. And I was just thinking in my head, well, mussels take longer. I'll do those first. And then next thing I knew, man, there was a pair of hands on my shoulders, and boom, I was on the ground. And he looked over at me and yelled at me. And he's like, when I tell you to burn that effing brulee, you burn that effing brulee. And I was like, yeah, chef. Got back up and went back to work, man. There was no contest, right? Nowadays, you got people who work for you that are just want to challenge you and be all tough. And it's like, no, like, then you knew the kitchen was synonymous with like kind of military style drill. Like the chef said, he owned it. You didn't push back on that. When he told you something, that was the final challenge, your command. But the work ethic, the communication, like there were so many different things that came along with it. And, you know, you'll see it in the coffee shop. Like Richard's got to be able to talk to the front to know what beans are low and what he needs to do, right? Orders going out, all that stuff like that. The girls have to know what he's working on so they can know what to commit to or not commit to. They have to talk to the kitchen to make sure, hey, this person needs this. But she has to talk to everybody else because, like, Kristen needs to know, what am I baking? Who's ordering? I mean, there's just so many different aspects going on at once. And I definitely think that was easy for me and to look back on and say, yeah, that was the strongest part of my career.
Can be like forged by fire.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And man, I'm so sorry I went on that tangent. I
No,
went way off. But
I mean, you're so right though, because I was a bar back for a really short amount of time.
yeah, no, but you
when
get it.
You learn a lot about teamwork and how to communicate and work and get in the zone with other people, and unless you shut the fuck up and do your job and kind of pay attention and do that extra step, caring and showing like, okay, I may be doing something minuscule. I'm just cutting lemons, but those lemons are needed for the actual like mixologist to create the drink that goes to a customer that is like, holy shit, this is the best cocktail I've ever had. Who then gets to share it with everyone else, who then has that same experience and talks to everyone else, and you were a part of that. If you didn't have that done well and beautiful, they wouldn't be able to use it, and then it stops them, and then the flow stops, and then everything it's a train wreck. And so like, it is such a hard lesson to teach. I don't want to throw a lot of the new kids under the bus, but I've heard stories where they are challenging too much and they're not just kind of like putting their head down and like getting in the flow and understanding that you need to work with the team to understand how teamwork actually goes. Right. Which is a part of working with the community. Yeah. Because until you do that, you're up here. Yep. You're listening to your own voice. You're caring about yourself more than what is going on outside of that. 100%. And same thing that goes with the community. If you're only caring about yourself and your own business, you're not going to be able to flourish really because you don't care about everyone else. And the community is what supports you and 100% gives you purpose.
We Rachel reached out to me because they needed an extra person on Saturdays for the farmers market, and she was like, "Would your daughter be interested?" And I was like, "Maybe," but I'm telling her she's doing it, and she was so nervous to do it, and I was like, "No, you're gonna do it." And so she was like, "Well, I don't know how to do this or that." And I was like, "You're at the farmers market. You're just pouring coffee. You're not making it. Don't worry about it." So I dropped her off, very nervous. But one of the best reports I got back was when I went back. Kylie was like, and they both said she was great to work with. She loved doing it. But Kylie was like, the best part I loved was like when I was taking an order from a customer, she would hear the order and then she would just start making it. And I was like, thinking one step ahead is so important in life and in business and everything, right? Try to anticipate the next move before it's given to you. And that will make it so much easier, and then you get acknowledged better. I mean, I've seen it, like if you are aware of the content Brad's looking for and you're starting on it,
I can see it.
you can see it. Like, you know what to anticipate. So the content's going to be that much better when you make it. He's going to be that much happier because it's something you took off his plate. And it just, man, it takes pressures off of so many areas, right? It's just not about you doing Brad a favor. It's about every little step of the process, from your creation of it to the stress that rolls down from all the communication. So, yeah, that thinking one step ahead is crucial. And I think a lot of kids don't have that thing nowadays. And I think a lot of them just wait to be told. And it's like, man, don't wait to be told anything. Just do it. And if you make a mistake, own it and move on. You learn, right? But try to anticipate the work that needs to be done and just go at it.
Yeah. That's a good lesson.
I mean, that's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this real quick and segue, but with the mentoring group, that's how it started.
Oh,
I
great.
went to my daughter's principal and said, what can we do for you? That was the question I asked, right? It wasn't waiting for a PTA letter. It wasn't waiting on this. So there's two important parts of that. I should have added that to it. It was the, what can I do for you? And then when she told me, it's the follow-up, right? Because I could have easily been like, mentoring group, yeah, it's kind of tough to get. I don't know if I knew any guys that would be interested, and I got a lot on my plate, you know what I mean? But she was like, we have a lot of boys in our school that don't have fathers at home, so we need a male mentor group. My next words exactly where I got you. I'll call some guys. I'll get you a group next week. And that's exactly what happened. But it was just like, if I would have never went up to, and it was a daddy-daughter dance. My daughter was running around with her friends, through the gym, whatever. I saw an opportunity to say hello to her principal and was just like, what do you need? And so trying to think one step ahead of what can I do to help them. Because if I wait, I mean, you're going to get the standard list. Oh, we need more hand sanitizer. We could use more notebooks. We can use this. But I mean, and that stuff is great because some teachers are paying out of their pocket. But what is it really doing at the end? Like, what other value are you creating,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think in anything we do, thinking ahead is key.
Yeah, helping out your neighbor.
100%.
I mean, Mr. Rogers has been preaching that since day one.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I'm going to take it back to how we started this. If you ask the question or if you think one step ahead, then generally your mind's fixated on it, right? So we go back to return on investment. What's the return on investment going to be for you? If it's in your heart and it's on your mind, generally it's going to be pretty high for you, so it'll be more successful.
Yeah.
You're not just checking the box.
And I also feel like you get to that, you're kind of also finding purpose. Like, I think the more you help out your neighbor and the community, the more you kind of feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah.
At least for most people, I think. You benefit and grow and flourish by not being selfish and focusing just on yourself. I think there's like a bit of a poison in that when you are so self-focused. And I understand like not being taken advantage of and making sure you're getting the right treatment and you're not like working 14 hours for like $3 an hour. Like 100% stand your ground, get what you deserve, but also understand that your point isn't just to get money. It's to help something, like other people.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if it's Walmart greeting people.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, granted, Walmart is a huge mega corporation. Don't feel too bad about Walmart, but at the same time, it's the customers that are coming in. Maybe not late at night, be a little bit careful there, but...
Right. But you say get what you deserve with the job, right? And this is a conversation I had with a mentee recently, like, and this is something I want him to think about, so I'm not saying it to you, but to him, I was like, what dictates what you deserve? He was like, I need that $16 an hour. I was like, but what have you done to dictate that 16? This is your first job.
Mm-hmm.
You just gonna stand your ground and be like, oh, I'm 15, 16 years old. I deserve 16. All that don't work that way, man. You got to show them the value you bring. You got to earn it. So you may have to make less in the beginning, right? But when you get there, give that 100% every time. Show them you earn the 16 you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so in goal giving, like you may not start off where you want to be at, and that's okay. Like you may have to start one foot in the ground. God knows I did,
Same.
because my parents weren't wealthy. So, but don't let it hold you down either, right? Like circumstances aren't quicksand. You can get out. It's easy to say, "Oh, my environment is this, or this." Well, yeah, a lot of people have started off rough, but look at all the ones who have made it because they were persistent.
Mm-hmm.
So, I used to joke about this, but now I'm serious about it. But I always said, because it took me a year and a half to date my wife, I chased her that long. But my saying was persistence pays off, and so that was my like life quote: is everything I ever wanted, I pursued, and I was persistent about it. And then at some point, it was granted to me, and if it wasn't, I had to understand that okay, it was for a reason. But I see where it brought me to.
Yeah.
But yeah, these kids come in there like, I deserve this. You don't deserve anything. None of us do. We just have to earn it. And so, making our community better. I want people to understand, like, we get involved in things because the better our community is. All right, I want to live in Somerville, hopefully the rest of my life, and I may move one day. I've considered other places, but I just love living in Somerville, so I want to be here until I'm old and gray. The hope is that my kids, if they go off or do whatever, that they come back and raise their family here. They're not going to do that if this place is falling apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it behooves, at my home, if my porches are dull, I'll restain them. If something's falling apart, I'll re-nail it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I keep it, I try to build it better, or I try to keep that standard that we expect. It should be no different for our community because I want to maintain that standard of excellence. And there's going to be things here and there. Look, we can complain about traffic and this and that, but at the end of the day, the core of our community is the people, not the cars, not this and that come through. So if we allow it to get to a certain standard and we start seeing crime increase and homelessness and all, well, now we're not doing our best to protect it. My kids aren't going to want to come back, right? And so it behooves us to protect our assets, get involved, and we're not going to solve everything. I mean, there's always going to be homelessness. There's always going to be mental instability. There's always going to be all these things. But if we chip in, like there's churches who do homeless shelters. I go to Seacoast. They have a cold shelter every winter, right? Mm-hmm. But they run it with bare bone what they can because that's all they have stamping in. They need people to show up. Like, how can we help you? We don't have the guts to open up a shelter in our home, so how can we support you in what you're doing? What do you need from us, right? If they had more people doing that, think about the more people they can tend to and try to get better and back on their feet. Same thing with Keys to Change. Schools, same thing. Schools have these, free lunches. These kids have no nutrition at home. All right, so what can we do to offset that, right? And so I used to joke and say I started the mentoring program because my girl's eventually going to date one day, and I want to limit the amount of little turds that they come in contact with. But I was like, you know what? In all seriousness, though, there's a standard I hold for my wife, and there's an expectation I want my girls to know. Like, I respect her, and I'm chivalrous, and all these things that a man should be. This is what they should expect when they see a man. But we need to show our men in our community what that is. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of them have environments to show them. Some of them think it's okay to hit girls. It's not okay at all. Ooh. But our men need to tell them that, right? A lot of the women think it's okay to hit the boys, and the girls need to tell them no, or the ladies need to tell them that's not okay either. So that all comes to it. So where I joked about, I was trying to eliminate the amount of boys they find that are turds, and I'm like, really though, I need them to know that when they come back home, if they come back home, that this is a safe place to come to. This is a respectable place to come to. And I think we're seeing too many examples of communities and areas where that's not taking precedent, and we're kind of seeing it fall apart,
Yeah.
So it sucks, but I have faith. I'm an optimist in that regard. I do think things will get better. I think things are better. But
most of the time I'm an optimist. Every now and then my brain lies to
me. No, I'm with you. I see
Yeah.
things sometimes and I get negative, but then I'm like, you know what? Like, as long as there's breath in me, like I'll always be on that fight. And then I know I'm not the only person who thinks this way, and people are usually encouraged by action. So, like I said, man, we have 178 people doing this. That 200 number is right at our doorstep. Like, I want to get there. But 200 might turn to 400 because 200 people are talking about it and they're showing examples.
Easy.
So, I just think people have to see it take place first.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to a guy the other day. get a wrap up. Actually,
Oh, I'm
we're
sorry.
getting close. No, that's all right.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go too long.
Shut me up, man. Yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
I talk too much.
But we're working on at Costa with the Warrior Surf Foundation, and a guy named, I think it's Bill Jarbo. I know his last name is Jarbo for sure. Pretty sure it's Bill. I'm 99.9% sure. Bill, don't judge me. But his Warrior Surf Foundation is working with vets. They obviously come back after being away and at war and whatever, and learning how to integrate back into society. And my dad was in the Navy. My grandfather, when he was alive, whatever, he was a Vietnam vet and all this stuff. So I've seen what it can do. I call myself I don't ever say man enough, but at the same time, I wasn't ballsy enough to kind of go into the military, but part of me wished I had that structure. However, he was talking about how incredible it's been to see that they are running out of equipment daily by the amount of people that are coming at a sunrise surf, and they're vets, and they're drinking coffee, and they're opening up. It's like dudes who can't talk after like 3 weeks are starting to like open up. And the change that they're seeing and how they're just more and more and more people showing up to get the healing that they need. He's like, these are men who are willing to sacrifice their entire life for the betterment of a country.
Yeah.
We need those people back in our country.
100%.
And there's not, like, now there's like avenues and programs for it, but back in the day there weren't. And so like you're kind of just like shunning someone who gave everything for a country. And it's like, so he was talking about it, and I got goosebumps just like listening to him talk about how many people are just showing up and how the brotherhood is kind of like building more and more by surfing.
Yeah.
And it's wild, and it's that same level of commitment and sticking to it, and the fact that the more that you see more people involved, the easier it is to get involved, because it's the tribalism, the community builds and picks itself up together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work if you don't put yourself out there to do it.
Dude, I'm gonna say this, it might offend somebody, but it is what it is. But we treat some of our pets and animals better than we treat our vets, and it kills me because I'm kind of like you. I was gonna go in the military in high school, and I talked to 2 recruiters who I felt like were lying to me. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to culinary school, and so like I bailed, and I didn't have the guts to really just go for it.
Yeah.
And then I graduated college as an adult, and I was gonna go back and do as officer training school, but it was just too much on our family. But I always had, my grandfather was in the Navy, my uncle was in the Air Force, my cousin was in the Army. Like, I've got vets in there, and I've always had the utmost respect for people that just gave up their lives and said, you know what, they signed a blank check for their life, for their service. And, some guys never deployed. Some guys are seeing action. They didn't have a choice in most of those cases, right? When you sign up, and you just figure out where you're going to go. So I respect from the guys who stayed stateside for 6 years, or the guys that put 25 in and saw all kinds of stuff, But you think about the environment we put them in and the conditions we put them in, and ask them to just give up their families, their wives, their kids, forget about them. We need you on this mission. Take care of this. And then they get out and they're like, all right, hate it for you, but try to take care. And it's like, no, man, these guys saw things that most of us will never see. And that's like, I told you I was a Christian earlier. I feel like I got good faith, but you go to some of these other countries, man, like people are getting killed for being Christian. I don't know what it's like to have it tough as a Christian, And so have I really been tested? These military folks have been over there walking streets where they don't know if there's a kid coming around the corner with a backpack that's going to take them out because they were told to. So they're on guard every day. It messes with them. And so whenever we deny them some of these things, it really warms my heart. Like When Life Sucks, that dude Brad partnered with to do the dinners and all. The surf program you're talking about. What's the other organization? I think it's called 22 a Day.
Ooh, that sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it's a veterans.
I don't know, but
there's 22 suicides a day with veterans, and so.
Oh, that hurts.
I mean, I hope I didn't get that name wrong. Forgive me if I did, but yeah, they're raising awareness, and but it just sucks that these guys got to endure that, and that we just kind of. And I say this because my wife works for the VA, so I see the treatment that some veterans get, and I'm like, that's terrible. Like now. Does every veteran need that? No. Thankfully, some have support systems. And it goes back to what we're talking about, right? Find your tribe, find your people. But some people or some vets have endured something so terrible. Doesn't matter how big your tribe is, man. They're going to have demons they're battling, right? They've done some stuff that is going to haunt them for life. And they really need proper care.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of heartbreaking that we just send them to a hospital and check off the list and say, okay, you're good for a couple months.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the worst.
Yeah. So, but I kind of love how we all came back to it's the people you have around you, man, that either bring you down or lift you up,
Yeah.
And so that's huge. And I think it looks like you got a pretty good group, man. I mean, I see some of your photos and your reels and stuff like that, and I love that I'm seeing the same faces and you guys all laugh together. I think that's huge and it's important.
You gotta fight for it, but
life's not meant to do alone.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have talked about devastating circumstances. Like if you have like a real nightmare situation,
Yeah.
I would 100% be a hermit.
Yeah, no. I mean,
However, I do not want that to happen.
No,
I love my people so much.
Yeah, and I think, man, like, and it's not easy to do, and God knows I've told some stories and I've gotten choked up by thinking about it, but also choked up that I was able to say, thank God I had that outlet, or thank God I had those folks saving me, you know what I mean? Because when I was younger, I never really talked about it, but, like, I would write stuff out, like, and just kind of get my gratitude out on paper. That helped me deal with a lot of things. And sometimes I just sealed them up and put them in a drawer and never gave them out to people. And sometimes I gave my parents a note, I gave my aunt a note, and I think it worried them more than anything. And it wasn't like I never had that in me, but it was just like it was very therapeutic to write it out and get it on paper because just sitting up here was doing me no good.
Yeah.
But man, it's just, there's a song that came out last year. I love it, but oh damn, it's got Darius Rucker in it and Dax.
Dax, the rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the song, but it's something about being a good man, and it just talks about basically like being a man is not easy. The path in life is a tough one, and how we battle demons and all this stuff like that. I'll send you the link, but dude, I couldn't tell you how many times I listened to that song a day for like months, dude. Just kept playing it, and it hit all the right notes, and I think that's where that guy blew up from, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, cool.
Great song to listen to. Don't let it get to you though. Let it put you in a positive space just to know that there's other people who cope with it. Mm-hmm. I think him putting Darius Rucker on it made it blow up because that was a good part. But no, it's healthy to talk about stuff, man. Like we can't hold stuff in as men. Yeah. We got to share with our friends. They have to know when we need help. And I think it's healthy to talk about. I don't think it's healthy to bottle up.
No, absolutely not.
Now, there's folks I see on social media that put like every detail of their business out there. Like, don't do that. Like, please don't do that. But
yeah, that's the opposite extreme.
Correct. It just, you don't want everybody peeking inside the window because then it just brings ridicule and it brings more aggravation on top of your stress.
Yeah, it's not going to make you feel any better.
Find people who are going to be there for you and just comfort you. You know what I mean? And look, man, I'll say it as a man, dude. Sometimes you need to cry it out. Like, it's good for you. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you got to do, then do it. There's no shame in it, But as long as you keep moving forward, like, don't let it hold you down. That's the one thing I've learned.
Yeah.
So I try to, man, raising kids has taught me that more than anything because I've taught my daughters now, like, one of my youngest one was having some issue with a boy at school or boys, like, picking on her and stuff like that. And I was telling her to hit. I told her if they hit her, she has to hit back. Mm-hmm. And she's sticking to that standard that the school teaches you. You don't fight. You don't put your hands on anybody. And I was like, I'm not asking you to fight. I'm asking you to defend yourself. There's two different things.
Yes.
And I was like, Staropolis, don't run. We don't. Like, you're not going to run. So if you got to let them know now. Because if you let it get too long, then they're going to pick on you every time.
Yep.
And she took my advice when we got a phone call. But it's like, you know what? I'm glad she did too, man. Like, that's because she hasn't had a problem with that boy since then. And that's the thing is, like, I don't want them to be troublemakers. I don't want them to pursue danger, but I do want them defending themselves. And I do not want them to get taken advantage of because it'll happen. So, I think that mental fortitude does a lot for you too. I think if you become a victim, it's hard to come out of that mindset. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you start finding every reason why you're the victim, and it's just not healthy, man. You know? I think accountability for our own actions. I think responsibility is huge for us, and I just think openness. I think we have to carry those traits as men and be able to say, "Hey, I messed up." God, I can't tell you how many times. And there's times, man, I thought I could lose it all, and I've been like, "I messed up. I'm sorry," and I'd own it.
The Extreme Ownership.
100%.
It's also a great book.
But it's
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it. I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Jocko.
I laughed. I told somebody else. They asked me if I read Atomic Habits, and I was like, I read halfway. One of my Atomic Habits is not finished or anything. But that's the truth. I read like halfway, and I stopped, and I was like, all right, I got to fix that. But, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, all right, let's wrap it up there, actually, because I think that's a sweet, you almost like synopsis the entire, that's not a verb, but
Yeah.
You did a good
Wrapped it
wrap
up
up.
at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
This has been a great
I
conversation.
enjoyed this. Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh, we probably could have gone for 2 more hours.
100% could
Easy.
have. This could have been a Joe Rogan podcast. It's like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah.
That just means we got to come back. And
I'm
just
good with
keep
that.
going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Frankie.
No, thank you.
Thank you guys for watching and listening.
Love it.
And until next time.
Awesome.